Hello and welcome to our latest episode of Positive Peeps, all about giving and creating and thus healing thyself. Today is a very, very, very special and unique episode because I have three guests all together at once, three brothers, three sons of Mr. Tariq and Shaheen Ali. And the reason I'm having three of them on at once, it is in honor of their mother, Shaheen. Shaheen was to be my guest a little less than a year ago. I had the great fortune of meeting this very special, special person through her sons, through Cameo and social media. And I was not surprised to hear and understand about the impact she had made on so many and so many others. I wanted her to be a guest on Positive Peeps, and I asked her. And she was honored and she said yes. Unfortunately, she passed away from her battle with cancer, but didn't want to stop her legacy. And so I asked her sons if they would be guests on her behalf and on their own behalf, because she was one extraordinary positive peep and she made three more positive peeps. So her legacy lives on through them. And I am very excited to have them on. First, we're going to bring on Moeez, who is in London, our fashion photographer. Moeez, where are you?
There we go.
Welcome,
Hi.
Moeez, to Positive Peeps.
I'm so happy to be here. My eldest brother Aizaz was very excited when I told him about this because he's been feeling a bit left out from all of the contact with you.
Right, so I'm going to bring in the other brothers. Next, we have Maher, who is in Bahrain right now. Maher, where are you? Come join us.
Hello,
Hey!
how's it going?
So this is the next oldest brother, everyone, and Maher is in from Bahrain. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm very good. And why don't we bring in the oldest? Aizaz, come on in.
There we go.
Welcome,
Hey.
Aizaz.
How are you?
Finally, I get to see you and meet you. I feel like I know Moeez and Maher quite well.
Oh, I know.
You can tell who the corporate brother is by his Zoom background.
I know he looks like in a Disney cartoon here. He looks perfect. Thank you guys all for being here. I feel like I'm the fourth brother here.
You are?
Four handsome men. No, I don't know. Why don't you guys say why don't you say how we met and how we all connected for those who may not know?
So we during my mom's chemo, it was also, I think it was like early COVID days as well. So like we were kind of all just stuck at home. And a friend of my mom's recommended The Blacklist. So we started watching it. Little did we know what we were getting into. And I think it must have been like a few weeks in which we watched 7 seasons. It would be like midnight and we'd finish an episode and she'd look over at us and be like, oh, come on, just one more. And we'd already watched like 3 that night. And then she'd be doing like a running live commentary, particularly when you came on the screen, Amir, saying like, yeah, I knew he would do that. He's the good one. And so she just developed like an affinity to your character, and really, really loved your character and you obviously. And then so we just thought like, maybe there's a way that we can connect you two. And it's one of those weird things that you just know it was meant to be, because I'd heard of Cameo, which is the app that we connected through, and I went on it, and you had literally just signed up to it like a week ago or something. I thought it would be like, a few days before we heard back from you. And I thought it would be nothing against you, but I thought it would be like, a 1-minute thing, like just saying hello or whatever. And then I woke up to like a 5-minute video from you.
I have to say, first of all, when I had just started on that app, I thought it would be birthday messages, celebrations. I never knew it would be like, hey, this really cheers my mom up. And also, it was the first time I had ever seen a video message coming from you and Maher saying, "Hey, Amir, how are you?" So I actually got to see and feel people. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, and so it already just started off on a different, it changed the experience of Cameo for me. Just that. And then I had never gotten a reaction video before. And you sent me the greatest reaction video ever of like the loveliest woman with like the best reactions. And then hearing all of you guys laugh and then seeing your dad cry, that was just like, I mean, I watched it. I mean, watched it like, it made me feel so good. I felt so grateful to be able to have been a part of it. But I want to talk about you guys. But before we do, I just thought collectively as a family, you guys, if we could, I just want to hear about her story.
So she was born in Pakistan, in Lahore. She grew up in Lahore for a while, eventually moved to Karachi with her parents. She was the youngest of four siblings. I guess we would say, she grew up pretty upper class. Her father was, from a well-to-do family. He was one of 11. Her grandfather on her dad's side was, I think, the first Muslim librarian in India. Maher must correct me if I'm wrong. And this was like way back in the day. This was in Calcutta, but
The Imperial Library.
the Imperial Library, yeah. So it was
And her nickname.
Her nickname was Baby. Yeah.
yeah.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also amongst the youngest of the cousins, not the youngest, but amongst the youngest. And I think a lot of people in our family didn't even look, the kids in our generation didn't even know her name was Shaheen for a long time because everyone called her Babes or Baby.
Really weird to hear.
Is that where Bahrain Babes came from? That was her Instagram handle.
In Bahrain Babes. So it was always even my dad, I've barely heard him say her actual name before because he calls her Babes.
She was a great artist too. I think she always wanted to be an artist, but never pursued it, but then did it kind of just in her own time, and we're fortunate to have a lot of cool stuff that she made over the years. She did painting. She eventually started doing some pottery type stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff we have from her.
I think sorry, you only have one of her paintings up in your room?
Oh yeah.
She made like for three of us, she made 3 versions of that for all 3 of us.
Yeah,
This
Bird inside?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know this. I knew I liked Shaheen. So on her own time, she continued to do that while she wasn't sort of raising the kids and doing service work. Is that something she would do on her own time? Like, what would she do on her own time when she wasn't sort of doing responsibility stuff?
Well, to be honest, that was the thing. She gave so much of herself. She really didn't have what I think we would traditionally think of as like, me time, or just like, she was always, when we were younger, obviously she was totally, dedicated to the 3 of us and raising us. And
she loved to read.
Yeah.
And she loved to watch like TV and movies. But she never did. We would have to like force her to sit down and read a book because even that was like too much idle time.
Like she could have been doing something for someone else in that time rather than indulging in her. We also found out that rather funny, like she just always was doing different things, but we found out fairly recently that she worked part-time as a translator for the DEA. Translating, like they like obviously bug hotel rooms or whatever. I don't know what they did back then. And she just casually dropped it into a conversation one day.
Your mom was a spy for the Drug Enforcement Agency?
A translator, yeah. It was so weird. We didn't even know about it until now. So it's just like another one of those.
This was when we lived in Connecticut on the East Coast.
Yeah. Like late 80s, like weird and wonderful things about her.
I'm going to sidetrack. Can you talk a little bit about the things you've discovered about her in this past year that you didn't know before?
Good question.
I think, it's it's a weird one because we know, like, we've known obviously how incredible she was, but it was more about how far that went. So just how many people she was in touch with, how many people she was helping. We got, I think someone called her phone, after she had passed, and it was a woman that in Pakistan, I think, who my mother had been paying for like her daughter's schooling for a number of years. And we knew about all these people because anyone she met, she befriended and would then help them however she could. Even now, I just get a bit overwhelmed thinking about it. Like, how did she do all that, raise us, do 50 million other things? And so I found a lot of that out, at least personally, in the last, few months.
So many people would say that she was their best friend because she somehow, even with doing so many things, made everyone feel like the time she gave them was, even if it was 10 minutes, you felt like it was an hour that you got of time with her. Even if it was like twice a year, it kind of felt like there were times when we would only see them twice a year when we lived in the States and they lived here. And, A, because of the technology, but B, just because she packed so much in and she managed to make everyone appreciate her time. We did used to get sometimes like fed up of like, okay, we have to go out and help her with this like charity drive again. We would complain. Not gonna lie.
We were like 14, 13, 14, 15, so like acceptable age to
Other priorities.
Yeah.
So, but I would say at that age, it's like, oh, wow, we have to go help my mom. So what charity drive was it when you were 13, 14, 15 that she had you help them? And when did you feel like, I mean, I'm sure now there's a great appreciation for that, sort of the value of service. Is that something do you think you inherited, something you observed, or something she actively taught? And I don't want to remove your father from this equation too, because I know he was very involved probably in teaching that service and good to others and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, she like, it was both. It was taught and observed. From at least for me, as far back as I can remember, just the act of service to those less fortunate. That's been a huge part of all of our lives. And we were only kicked up a fuss because it was like, oh, you want to go hang out with your friends and they're not going to be at that event. So we would go. It would be to like help at a stall if they were selling something, or help set up, or just that kind of basic stuff. It was in Bahrain. It was a lot for. She was part of this association called the Pakistani Women's Association. So that was like a very I don't even know how to describe it, but it was just like this long running thing, like, oh yeah, PWA event this week, see you there.
Both of our parents have always sort of been like that. I don't know what the word is, but people will come to them when they want to give money to charity, and our parents will, have always just, people come to my parents when they need help for some reason to our parents. And something on their faces. We used to tease our mom that she had like sucker written on her forehead. But
her sister used to tell her like, be more selfish,
Yeah.
because she
Yeah.
They would come and ask for a handout, or ask for how do we help someone else, or we don't feel good, like coming as like a therapist, or for spiritual guidance, or for give me
everything.
All of the above, really. I mean, my parents, yeah, our home is a place where people like feel comfortable coming and talking, and awesome. Our mother was definitely a talker, and our dad's a good listener. So the two of them love to talk to people, hear their stories, understand how they can help, or just be supportive. And because there's a huge migrant worker population here, we're fortunate enough that you have people working in the house helping out. We had a driver growing up and a maid looking after the house, and it wasn't just like, okay, these are the people cleaning up after us. They're very much part of the family. They're kind of like our adopted siblings.
It sounds like because of her experience, I don't know, the migrant workers, the nonprofit.
Yeah, so she worked with, and this is something else that she had, like she was always rooting for the underdog. So Migrant Workers Protection Society is this amazing organization that works on protecting migrant worker rights. And they do a lot of work, and they have a pretty big network, but there's just there's lots of other smaller nonprofits and organizations and informal groups that supplement that kind of work.
How did she cope with difficult news? We could even say cancer.
Someone was asking her like, kind of, what what has this whole cancer journey been like for you, or what's it meant and so far? And she was like, I it's actually been a good thing. It's been a blessing, because I've just
Feeling.
had the chance to connect with so many people, and reconnect with old friends, and from various parts of her life, and exactly, and new friends and everything. And she was like, if anything, it's just shown me the beauty of life and kind of this journey that we're all on together. So that was her way of looking at things. And
So the cancer thing, which I think you'll enjoy. When we had all gone on a trip to Pakistan, to northern Pakistan a few summers ago, and we went like way up north, and a few of us got altitude sickness, which can last for a few days, headache, stomach ache, stuff like that. So she had a stomach ache, didn't think much of it. Um, and we didn't even we all left. She was still in Pakistan with my dad and her sister, and it kept continuing, her stomach ache. So she eventually went to the doctor, and the doctor was like telling her, I think we need to do a scan, we need to do this. And she said, why? So he said, I think it's just better to have some more information. And she flat out asked the doctor, are you worried that it's cancer? And he said, I have to wait and see. By the time they got the news, the next day, she had like 10 or 15 cousins came over, and it was like a fun night. And then they had to fly home the next day for one night to unpack their bags from Pakistan to Bahrain, and fly to England so she could meet doctors and start her treatment. And she threw a party with like 60 or 70 people, came over, and she threw a party on that one night.
That's extraordinary. I guess that's the way to do it. That's
I mean, we were all in different cities. My dad was in Bahrain, my mom was in Karachi, Moeez was in London, I was in New York, and Aizaz was in New York also. It was New York.
It seems like a theme with your family.
Yeah, it's very much, we're never in the same place, but we were all in like spread out when we got the news. My dad flew to join my mom to meet the doctors, and then the first thing, before there were tears or anything, when we all got met in England, we all flew and met up at my aunt's house. Before there were tears or anything, she was just like so excited at this like spontaneous, like, oh, we're all here together at once, like meeting up. What an adventure. That's so fun. She was so excited.
I looked on her Instagram before Bahrain Babes a while ago. This was before when she was going to be a guest on Positive Peeps, and I noticed she had a hashtag, a thing that she was doing called 100 Happy Days. And I was like, oh, she's Positive Peeps. This is my Positive Peeps. And one of the things was when the boys come home. And anytime, the only thing I wish is Moeez was here, Maher's home, celebration, Aizaz could be here. I mean, I saw that so many different times. Just the happiest thing ever was when the boys would come home. But could you tell me what 100 Happy Days, because this was well before her cancer diagnosis. This is like,
ages ago.
What was that born from, and what was that project she did on social media?
I think we saw something similar somewhere else. So we kind of,
like a trend on Instagram at the time of like people like day one, day two, do 100 days of posting your like something that makes you happy. It was like a big trend.
She did it. So she did all 100 days.
She did in a row, which I like. That's honestly will remain one of the most impressive things she's done in a way, because
she was really technology.
Yeah, and also very easily distracted by a lot of things. So to do that, but that just shows, that she loved sharing those little things.
I think that's a good transition into asking you about this very brand new social media, not even a week old, everybody, that I'm following. The Little Things. Moeez, why don't you tell us what that is?
I started an account because I noticed, when like walking around London, if I was going somewhere, I'd always see something small and I'd take a picture of it. And I still text her phone, just like kind of like feel like we're having a conversation. So I'll send her pictures of things that I've seen, just to like say, oh, you'd love this,
Still do,
and then I,
do
sorry.
that? Still do that now?
Yeah, I do that now. I think quite a few people actually do it because her phone is still buzzing nonstop. So,
People feel like they can talk to her and connect with her, literally.
yeah, I think it's kind of therapeutic in a way, like, just you feel like maybe she's seeing it. Yeah, so I just set it up, and I didn't like really know what to do with it, to be honest. I was like, how can I make this a thing that people contribute to? And so I wanted it to be about, I wanted everybody to kind of bond over the little things that make them happy.
I love that. So for those who don't know, follow the little things. I'm following it. I'm super excited. You should just follow Moeez in general because he's an artist.
Thank you.
I want to hear maybe a little bit about your dad. How's he doing? Mr. Ali just seems like such a, call him Mr. Ali. Mr. Ali, wonderful. He just has a natural dignity and demeanor about him. He wrote me that one message that touched me very much. You can tell he's a man of few words, and when he speaks, it's you listen. But how is your dad doing? And what would you say Shaheen's influence on him was?
They met 2 weeks before they got married.
Arranged?
Yeah.
Yeah. They met for like a very brief period, and then
I think they probably spent like 4 hours total together, but not alone.
It's funny, they're opposites in every single way. And the thing he always says now when he talks about her, since she passed, is that he was like, I think it was like 2 years into the marriage, and he still couldn't believe. He's like, I never knew someone could be so positive, like, that like someone could just kind of be that constantly happy and in such a good spirit. He just wasn't.
Said he thought it would wear off after the first year.
How is he doing now? And to be someone's partner and be next to them at all times, it's maybe the biggest shift, I think, if somebody gets past. How is he doing? How is he coping, if I may ask that, if that's all right?
Yeah, of course. He's doing better in many ways than we thought he would. Because people would always call my mom when she was traveling and say, you got to come back, your husband's like miserable without you. So he really liked being around her, so obviously it's a big adjustment, but he's doing well. They've got such a huge network of friends and such a great support system here. Our house, we don't lock the door, it's just like an open door. People are always coming and going, so he's never really like, her energy is still very much continuing in our lives through her friends, which is really nice. But he's 72, he's retired, so he has a lot of time to think, and I think he's enjoying just having that time to like reflect on their lives together, and all the memories and stuff. He's like even said to someone that he's enjoying the sadness for now because it's reliving his memories, so he's grateful for it.
That's a very profound statement that you just said. He is enjoying sadness right now because he's enjoying the memories. That is
not a few words, but he does come out with these.
It made me think of one other question about your dad. If your mom were here today, what do you think she would say? And says, what has her husband taught her? What did she take from Mr. Tariq Ali?
I don't know who's gonna answer that.
Okay, actually, interesting timing, because I think it was on their anniversary or his birthday last year before she passed that she wrote him a card, and it kind of says it all.
Can you read the card? Are we allowed to see the card, or do you remember? Maybe paraphrase it.
It's very long, but
I get some snippets from it.
I'll paraphrase a couple of snippets. Give me a sec. This is, by the way, the photo, the card she made for my dad for his birthday. She was very
childish, like cute.
Yeah, all of her arts and crafts projects were very rustic, but she had fun with it like that. What she talked about was that he's just the most genuine, sincere, caring person she knows, and she feels very lucky to have had him as a partner. On Moeez's 30th birthday last year, he asked her to write 30 life lessons.
Oh, wow.
As a
So-
joke, but I didn't think she'd actually
As a
do it.
joke, but she sat and wrote like, I don't know,
book.
there's like 20 pages in here.
I just loved the story and seeing some of the video of when it was iftar.
Mhm.
After it was, and she had been through chemo and was tired and so forth, but she
Yeah.
came and cooked
Yeah,
for like 100 people.
yeah,
And it energized her. All that energy it took, but it also energized her. I just
Yeah.
feel like that's exactly what this conversation series is about. Can you guys just tell me what you saw, what that was, what she did?
sure. Yeah, that's a, I think that's like something she's known for. Everyone, we don't even have to invite people every year for it's the first day of Ramadan every year that she has an iftar party and invites what started like 25 years ago as like a few close friends and has continued every year. And now it's like 100 people. They're close friends, but they have so many friends.
And they always
Uh,
come to your house.
They come to our house on the first day and she cooks all the food. She never believed in catering. So she cooks all the food. And it's just gotten like bigger every year. And 2 years ago when COVID happened and we couldn't do it, she actually made like little doggy bags. Like she made all the food and we packaged it together and sent it to everybody's house on the first day. And a big part of why she did that every year is because she used it as a fundraiser. So there were a few charities that she supported that they both supported. And Ramadan is supposed to be a time of like reflection and helping out and giving back and stuff. So it was a good opportunity on the first day to remind people of that. And so she'd have a little donation box and little gifts for everybody to take home with a positive quote or something on it.
Her donation box now has like all these little cutouts that she's stuck onto it with like positive quotes.
What I like is that it's not that she charged per meal to fundraise. The meals were there that she gave. There was a donation box if you could, however much you wanted. I like that it wasn't attached.
Transactional, yeah.
It wasn't conditional, transactional. It was the spirit of giving for everybody. I love that.
She loved it. She loved it.
She just fed off of that energy, to be honest. Like that's why we never ever had like quiet. There was always somebody coming over and we didn't mind it. But some people maybe want like private family time, but for us, we knew that's what she wanted, to have people around, to have her friends around. So it was nice in those 2.5 years, to just always have that energy around us.
Aizaz, I wasn't expecting this, but I feel like it would be really nice to meet your daughter and to meet Shaheen's granddaughter.
Absolutely. I'll be right back. Let me go get her and then hold on one second.
Oh,
Hello, Iman.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Iman, I'm a new friend of your family's. I have one question for you. What did you love about Shaheen?
About Dado.
About Dado. What's your favorite thing about Dado?
Painting and folding the picture.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you all.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. It's been an honor. And
Hi.
this was amazing.
else or with purpose. So I
Show
feel like,
them.
hi.
She wants to show you this.
Oh.